Baltimore organization, the Patriots organization, I would add one more, the Steelers, who you mentioned. They do things differently than everyone else from top to bottom. And Ozzie Newsome is obviously a huge part of that. But tell us about how the players all buy into it culturally too, because you do have guys oftentimes who come in as rookies making $10 million a year, and then you have guys making $300,000. It seems like the difference between the Patriots, Steelers, and the Ravens is the togetherness of all those players, regardless of what level of stardom they were at. That's what I've noticed. Yeah. But tell us what specifically about Baltimore, those three teams, other teams could even mimic and could do to maybe get better.
Yeah. Well, it's a culture of, unity, as you mentioned. One of the big things that the Ravens do every Monday is they give out game balls. And so it doesn't matter if you're a special teams guy, if you're, the top, paid guy on the team, we'll watch that film as a team and they'll highlight those that played like a Raven throughout that game. And so you have an opportunity to make a name for yourself with your teammates. And a part of that is the respect aspect, right? And so they know that respect is given based on your performance. And so players would watch, the tape and say, man, this guy, they say, if you're not running to the ball, you'll stick out like a sore thumb. So off the top, if you're not running to the ball, they already know that you can't play like a Raven. And then they want to see who's the most physical guy. And so we're making knots for that. And, in Baltimore, there was a thing like, we had to have 7 quarterback knockdowns, physical plays left and right. And so that was just the culture that was ingrained in all the players. And so the more you did that, the more your players respected you, and it brought us closer together. And we always play with that chip on the shoulder that everyone's coming for our backs, every year, even when we weren't even that good. I mean, the year we won the Super Bowl, we were 9-7 and snuck into the playoffs, but we still had that mentality of, hey, we're the Baltimore Ravens, and people, they're mad that we're in the playoffs. Like, they're mad that the NFL did not want us to be in the playoffs. And that was our mentality. They're mad that we are here. So let's make them pay for it, And so it's, that's really the mentality that's always been, play like a Raven.
I love that, man. Via, I think I'll let you do the honors of this segue, but I think there's a big question about that time period that we got to ask.
Yeah, I actually had one of the big, James created one of the best experiences of my life through his play in Baltimore when you got to go down to New Orleans and play in the Super Bowl again, which you invited me to come to, and we had an incredible time. And then most importantly, you won.
Yeah.
Take us into going from losing the year before to switching teams to now winning with the team you chose to go to.
Yeah, I think, the first year that we, when I was with the Patriots and we went to the Super Bowl, I think I had some regrets with how I prepared going into the week. Like, everything was so uptight with New England. It was like, we're back at the Super Bowl. We had a player curfew every single night. You couldn't really enjoy any of the festivities. They tried to treat it as much like it was just another game. And playing the Super Bowl is not another game. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And so when I came to the Ravens, I think we got there Sunday night, and we didn't have a curfew until Friday night, the week of the game. And so we got to enjoy the festivities. Guys had stories to tell. We got to bond closer as a team and, meet other, family members and so forth. We really enjoyed the entire experience, of the NFL, that the NFL put on for the Super Bowl, which allowed us to play more relaxed going into the game. And so, with that being said, going into that matchup, we knew it was going to be a dogfight. Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers, they were another physical football team, and John Hardball and Jim Hardball, and they grew up in the same house. His dad would tell us stories about how competitive they were growing up. So the teams were built very similar with similar attitudes and how to approach games and so forth. And so we knew it was going to be a dogfight. But we came out swinging, and for us to go up, like we did, by 3 scores, and then Beyonce sucked the light, out of the building.
That was crazy. Tell us about that, like how that changed the momentum of the game when the power went out.
Exactly. Something we've never experienced before, in modern, sports where, the power just goes out in a facility of that magnitude. But for us as players, it was, we just got to stay loose and, continue to communicate and go over the game plan and the adjustments. But when they told us it was going to be 20 minutes, then 20 minutes went to 40 minutes. And the next thing you know, it's an hour and a half before the power's back on. It took a lot for even the fans to get back into the game. So, it was just something that we had to deal with during the adversity. But, we finished that fourth quarter strong. And Ed Reed had, a key interception there, with, Colin Kaepernick. And, Corey Graham forced a fumble with the running back when, they were actually going in to, possibly score a touchdown there. And so we just made some key plays when we had to. And that was kind of the story of us all season long against the Denver Broncos in Denver. We had a pick 6 on defense and, a key interception, towards the end of the game as well. And so just constantly making those plays with our backs against the wall was really the difference. And then experiencing, that feeling of the confetti coming down, the fans going crazy. And, it was kind of that like pause for a second, like, wait, did we win? Like, did this really just happen? And then, everyone celebrates together, and being able to send, Ray Lewis off, riding into the sunset with a Super Bowl championship was amazing.
And for you personally, did it feel like a cap, like I've reached the mountaintop moment? Did you feel that?
Yeah. Most certainly. I think, going from the year before and having, the Super Bowl. And one thing that, I'd be remiss not to mention, it's big. My faith is, big part of my family and just how I was raised, and I am raising my kids is before every season, I would always leave and I would, go to my church, and my pastor would pray for me, and, that I would just be, injury free going into, into the year. And that year was different because he was praying for me, and he said, Andrew, you're going to win a Super Bowl. And when he prayed, and I was just like, I was just like, whatever. I just lost the Super Bowl. Like, yeah, right. Like, what's the chances? Even Tom Brady can't even go back-to-back Super Bowls. Like, how, and I was with the Patriots at that time of, that prayer. And then for everything to happen full circle where, I got released from the Patriots and then went to the Ravens and then in fact won a Super Bowl. It made the experience, that much more, surreal for me.